Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It's 6 p.m. here in Cairo. Time to have a look on the latest stories from Channel 2. I am Abir Mitwalli. President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi arrives in Kuwait and is received by its emir on the second leg of Gulf tour. President al-Sisi and Qatar's emir assessed the total rejection to any localization of Palestinians out of their lands. And EU Callas urges maximum pressure on Russia following an attack in Sumy that left 34 people killed. Welcome back. The news in detail. President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi on Monday began an official visit to Kuwait as part of a Gulf tour that took him to Qatar and is meant to stress the deep strategic relations binding Egypt and Gulf states. Upon arrival at Kuwaiti capital, the president received a warm welcome by Kuwait's Emir Sheikh Michel Al-Ahmed Al-Jaber Al-Sabah. A summit meeting between President al-Sisi and Kuwaiti Emir is held on regional developments. Both leaders also discussed Israeli aggression on Gaza. The Egyptian-Kuwaiti summit also tackled reinforcing bilateral economic ties. Earlier on Monday, President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi wrapped up a visit to Qatar. Both President Sisi and Qatar's Emir Sheikh Tamim bin Hamad al-Thani asserted their total rejection to any relocation of the Palestinians outside their land at a summit meeting at Emiri Diwan in Doha. We have details in the following report.
President Fattah al-Sisi and Qatari Emir Sheikh Tamim bin Hamad al-Thani on Monday asserted categorical rejection to any relocations of Palestinians from their land, holding a summit meeting at the Emiri Diwan in Doha as part of President al-Sisi's visit to Qatar. The two heads of states stressed the need for supporting Arab plan for reconstruction of Gaza Strip. President al-Sisi and Emir Tamim also pinned the importance of opening political horizon that leads to the establishment of independent Palestinian state along borders of 4th of June 1967. Presidential spokesman said the talks also tackled several other regional issues, notably situation in Syria, Lebanon, and Sudan, with both President al-Sisi and Qatari Emir asserting the need of maintaining security, stability, and territorial integrity of these countries. President al-Sisi also stressed the importance of boosting cooperation between Egypt and Qatar, with enhanced trade and investments in various fields in such a way that meets aspirations of the peoples. The summit talks followed an expanded meeting that was joined by delegations from both countries. Earlier on Monday, President al-Sisi received a red carpet welcome by the Qatari Emir upon his arrival at the premises of Emiri Diwan. President al-Sisi arrived on Sunday in Doha on the first leg of his Gulf tour, which will lead him to Kuwait, the second and last leg.
Egypt and Qatar issued a joint statement following the expanded talks between President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi and Qatari Emir Sheikh Tamim bin Hamad al-Thani. The joint statement stressed the importance of backing Palestinian cause. It said that both the Egyptian and Qatari leaders asserted support to efforts of Palestinian reconciliation among factions. Both leaders also agreed on holding an international conference on Gaza reconstruction and stressed the importance of continuing efforts for a ceasefire in Gaza. Both leaders denounced attempts to undermine mediation efforts. Moreover, the joint statement expressed concern regarding continuing conflict in Sudan. Both leaders also welcomed resuming U.S.-Iran indirect talks, and the statement also supported any attempts to restore calm in the region. President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi and Qatari Emir also agreed on boosting direct Qatari investments in Egypt. Prime Minister Mustafa Madbouli said the government is keenly interested in strengthening investment partnership with Saudi Arabia in light of the incentives that the Egyptian market is offering for investments by the foreign private sector. The Prime Minister made the remark as he met with Saudi businessmen delegation at the new administrative capital. The Saudi delegation asserted that they were eyeing investment opportunities in Egypt. The businessmen also pointed out that Saudi-Egyptian integration can be possibly forged in both industrial and tourist sectors. And Prime Minister Mustafa Madbouli said Egypt is ready to participate at any development projects in Pan-African countries. This came as Dr. Madbouli chaired a meeting dedicated for following up progress made in the establishment of Egyptian-built Julius Nyerere Dam and Power Generations Station. In Tanzania, the Prime Minister asserted that President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi directed that the project be finalized along the highest international standards in order to reflect the national company's abilities to implement grand projects on state-of-the-art levels. Senior Hamas official Tahir El-Nounu said on Monday that the Palestinian group is prepared to release all Israeli hostages in exchange for a serious prisoner swap, an end to the war in Gaza, the withdrawal of Israeli forces from the Gaza Strip, and the entry of humanitarian aid. Meanwhile, 5 Palestinians were killed and several others wounded after an Israeli occupation air raid at the house east of Gaza's southern city of Khan Younis. The strike came a day after a wave of Israeli strikes hit Al-Ahli hospital in Gaza City and other sites, killing at least 21 people, including children. As of Sunday, the Palestinian death toll in Israeli attacks in Gaza rose to at least 1,613 Palestinians since March 18th, when the Israeli occupation broke a ceasefire agreement. The European Commissioner responsible for the Middle East said that the European Union will increase its financial support for the Palestinian Authority with a 3-year package worth around 1.6 billion euros. The Commissioner for the Mediterranean said the financial support would go hand in hand with reforms of the Palestinian Authority. Meanwhile, the Palestinian Foreign Ministry condemned the Israeli Prime Minister's criticism of French President Emmanuel Macron for announcing that Paris intended to recognize a Palestinian state within months. The Ramallah-based ministry said in a statement that the ministry considers these statements a clear acknowledgement of Netanyahu's ongoing hostility to peace based on the two-state solution, as well as balanced rejection of international legitimacy and a persistent preference for the violence and military solutions over the political path. And to Iran, talks between Tehran and the United States over Tehran's nuclear program are set to resume next Saturday at yet-to-be-disclosed location. An Iranian insider close to the government said the U.S. wants Rome, while Iran prefers Geneva. A source in the Italian government confirmed that the next round would take place in Rome. However, it's likely that Oman, which hosted the first round of talks on Saturday in Muscat, would continue to mediate between the two sides. Polish foreign minister said he hoped U.S. President Donald Trump and his administration would see that Russian President Vladimir Putin was mocking their goodwill. He said that Ukraine unconditionally agreed to ceasefire over a month ago. However, Russia's answer was Sunday's missile strike in Sumy that killed at least 32 people. It is one of the deadliest attacks in months. Welcome back. Minister of Petroleum and Mineral Resources Karim Badawi said that increasing oil and gas output would help boost Egypt's ability to fulfill the needs of citizens from fuel and decrease the importation invoice. The minister made these remarks in an expanded meeting with chiefs and representatives of international petroleum giants operating in Egypt. He noted that Egypt has promising investment opportunities in the oil and gas field, reviewing the outcome of business activities and future plans in the field with the aim of promoting performance and expanding in the creation of petrochemical projects. Egypt's bourse closed higher today amid local and foreign corporate and Arab foreign investor purchases against local investor and Arab corporate sell-offs. The market capital of listed companies added about 5 billion Egyptian pounds, reaching 2.2 trillion at the end of transactions. The benchmark EGX 30 slightly rose to 0.02% above the 31,180-point mark. The equal weighted indices, the EGX 70 and 100, surged to 0.4% and 0.5% respectively. Chinese leader Xi Jinping warned today that protectionism lead nowhere and that a trade war would have no winners, as he was due to kick off a tour of Southeast Asia with visit to Vietnam. Xi's first overseas trip of the year will see him visit Vietnam, Malaysia, and Cambodia as Beijing seeks to tighten regional trade ties and offset the impact of the huge tariffs unleashed by his U.S. counterpart Donald Trump. Beijing is trying to present itself as a stable alternative to an erratic Trump who announced and then mostly reversed sweeping tariffs this month that sent global markets into a tailspin. Welcome back. Al-Zamalek snatched a previous 2-0 win over Haras al-Hudud in the second round playoffs of the Egyptian Premier League. The White Knights' 2 goals came in the injury time of the game's 2 halves, one through a penalty kick by Abdullah Saeed and the other by substitute Nasser Mansi. The win put Al-Zamalek in 3rd place in the league standings on 38 points, 2 behind second-ranked Al-Ahli and 6 away from temporal leaders Pyramids. Virgil van Dijk scored a late winner against West Ham to move Liverpool to within 6 points of the Premier League title. A 2-1 victory at Anfield means Arne Slot's team needs to win just 2 more games to be certain of the record equaling 20th English League title to draw level with the Manchester United total. The Merseyside club is 13 points clear at the top of the standings with 6 rounds to go. Victory completed a week of celebrations for Liverpool supporters after top scorer Mohamed Salah ended uncertainly over his future by signing a new 2-year contract. Ladies and gentlemen, this brings us to the end of our news bulletin. Thanks for watching, and please stay tuned.